Another thing I find silly about people is true bypass. Everyone, oh, I only like true bypass. Okay, here's your pedal board too. Is everything true bypass? Everything. Dude, your signal at the end is coming out terrible. Got it. Because uh put one of these boss pedals that will compensate.
That's it. There's the buffer bypass.
Get one that isn't true bypass and put it together. Another thing, the true bypass, when you press the button to turn it on, makes a cracked sound.
It's that block that comes out of the amplifier.
Oh, great. That's nice. No, that doesn't bother me. Damn. So what you're gaining, you're losing a lot. Man, everything is impedance. What will reach your AMP? That's why I go straight into the AMP. Everything of mine goes, except the AUA. Got it. I go in the but everything else goes through the send return.
Okay, so you plug the guitar directly into the AMP?
And everything else through the send return. I mean, then there's the wah-wah, because if I put it in the send return, it won't be the same. And everything in the send return, that's it.
Just the wah-wah then. And the tuner, for example.
It's a tuner.
You don't even use it.
No. I prefer those tuners that you put like this, that little Fender one you put on the neck.
Okay. That clip-on one, right? Huh. That clip-on one?
Yeah, the clip-on. Each little guitar has one of those clips. Put it there. I don't want to put anything there passing through. The fewer things there are, the better. Well, I have a pedal board, which actually has quite a lot. But everything goes to the send return because I don't want anything before. And the first, man, when I talk or about send return here, people would go, because I had the send return. Before the march, I launched the send return. No amplifier had send return. There was a Chilean here, Mr. Ronald, and I arrived because I always like to plug directly into the amp and crank it, use that driver right into the amp. But I said, what about the effects? How do you do it? And at the time, I used few effects, an Echoplex. Not even a wah. I used, it was an Echoplex. But I said, and it bothered me that the delay would come before the distortion. Take your pedal, eh? Put the delay before the distortion. It sounds weird. You understand. I wanted the delay after the distortion. And how am I going to make that happen? Then I talked to the old man there, Mr. Ronald, who was a Chilean. That was a technician at the RCA tube factory, because RCA historically used to manufacture tubes. Then he said, man, I asked how I could do it because I wanted this here. If the world that he fixes my things before, then he said, I can make a schematic, and here in my lab, you test it. So do it. I took it there. He said, I asked, how are you doing it? I'm taking it from the tube socket. So I'm taking it after the last preamp stage to enter the power section. So the effects, what happens is the send return enters the power section, not in the preamp section. So it went in freely and went straight to to the power section. So, man, the first experience I had there, when I turned it on, I said, well, wow. Then I said, but there's a problem. Man, I wanted a volume control. Can you add it? How much of the effect am I getting in? I know the equal complex had input and output, but you understand, even at the lowest setting, there was already a lot of effect coming through. But for me, it was great because The distortion part was perfect, you know, without saturation in the echoes as well. And then I went there the next day, and he had added 2 potentiometers to adjust the input. And then I said, do it on all my amps. I had a lot of amps. 50, 100, some 100, some super beautiful ones. Well, Marcon, well, the basses I had, you understand. So, and then it was a wonderful thing because I could go straight in there.
And how was it in terms of cabling? So you plugged your guitar directly, went through the UA to the amp.
At that time, I don't have Metal Mania, so it's easy.
Okay, so straight to the amp and the pedals afterward. From there, did you already pull another cable to go through the effects?
Yes, that's me. That's when I started using a rack. Then I set up a rack where I had an H3000 from Eventide, 1000 from Evil. You know, I had 2 SDRs, one 2000 and another 2500 from Roland for delay. There was a Rush image mixer. That and a noise gate as well, where these effects would go in. The image is the panoramic that I would send. In fact, when I got into this, I could send, because the problem with playing with many amps is phase. And this thing gave me a perfect phase alignment. It's not just, oh, I'm going to play with 2 amps. You get there and connect a wire here coming out of I have a stereo chorus. Cool. Look, it goes. All right. Are you going to use the chorus full time? No. Only when I need it. But it will be sending to both. Yes. Out of phase. Phase is an incredible problem, man.
So you solved it with this. What was the name of the thing you mentioned? Rainier?
Rush, which is the left node part of it, and the image, which does this thing, mixer, where I would input each of these, sending to separate amps.
Later, I wanted to spend some time talking just about this effects part here. But interesting what you said about that send return from way back then. You were ahead of your time.
Then Marshall released the JCM 900, which came, I said, how wonderful. I love the JCM 900 because of that. And it came, but mine were better. Really? Because mine were plexi with this, man.
But later, were the Plexus manufactured with CNR too? Are there Plexus with CNR?
No, there aren't.
Today there aren't any.
There aren't, only if it's an adaptation. There was a guy in Los Angeles who did this, Jose Arredondo, who worked on things for Ed and for Steve Vai, including the Legacy from Carvin. There's one that was based on a Steve Vai plexi, where the guy made these modifications. That's why I bought this amplifier. The first ones are great, but later they became terrible. The one I have is the first Legacy. It's a head and cabinet.
I've played on that head.
Huh.
I've played on that head. Isn't it wonderful? It's marvelous. Who owns that head? I used to rehearse in a studio that had Robertinho's head. And was it his? It was his. I was there with the sticker, Robertinho de Recife. Man, with the little Brazilian flag and all. Man, that one turned out so amazing. Its sound is incredible. It's very, very, very good. Did you sell it, Robertinho? Did you sell it? No. Was it stolen? No, it's in my studio. Ah, in your studio. Is it? I see.
I still have a Marshall 59 Plex.
I see.
I have a 50. Hey.
So you haven't gotten rid of almost anything from that time? All those Marshalls?
No, I got rid of them. A lot of people, Riccardo Cipriani, who rents amplifiers, has a bunch here. Tons to him. Anyone who wants a good amps, Cipriani has them.
Cipriani has them